Good, 38 have joined. Just 1 minute more just. So okay, I can start actually. Now almost 40 students are there in the class out of 50 or something like. So they see today this morning how smooth it was, right? So I hope that we will follow the same practice. I joined before anyone could of you initiate the meeting. So without any hassle, we can start on time actually. Right. So with these few opening remarks, immediately I would like to go back to my presentation. See what we are discussing in the for the last one day is just the idea of we are talking about an attribute which is just a quality or a characteristic. Now we have introduced the notations also. There are certain standard formats of writing. Say if I am writing Roman letter capital, that that represents a kind of presence, and the corresponding Greek letters represent the absence. So we can talk about A, B, C, D, and so on, and we can talk about their complementary event like alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Now we are going to discuss as a very special case. Of course, these combinations we have discussed yesterday, and here I stopped on the word dichotomy. Now this is an English word. Dichotomous means when you divide anything, maybe a population, even you must have seen certain trees, and on the plant and not on the plant, on very old trees, it is written that it is a dichotomous, means there are only two branches coming just like a Y shape. So the purpose of discussing this is very special. Now if my population is divided into two subclasses only, exactly two and no more, dichotomous means that there are only two classes, or there are only two subclasses. No, there is no possibility of the third one. So that is why it becomes a special case. Now we are going to discuss this, that if the population is divided exactly into two subclasses or complementary classes means just we have discussed like A and alpha or B and beta, these are called complementary classes. Because if you are healthy, you cannot be sick. That is like that. So if the population is divided into exactly two subclasses or complementary classes and no more, with respect to each attribute, then this type of classification is said to be a dichotomous classification. Now remember, this word classification we have used earlier also when we were discussing the classification and the tabulation of the data. But that was a quantitative data. Remember, suppose what are you doing? You are making a frequency table, or you are making a classification of the marks of the students. So what did you write? Marks obtained, say 20, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40. Depending upon how long you can go, you make certain classes, and in that classes you just count the number. How many students scored, say the marks between 20 to 30. Suppose that count is 48. So how you will read? So there are 48 students in the class who have scored marks between 20 and 30. That is called classification. Now here again we are talking about a classification, but this classification is not 10 to 20, 20 to 30 or so many classes. There are only two classes as such. Either you are a smoker or you are a non-smoker. Either you go for a shopping or you don't go for a shopping. Something like that. So we just make again the classes only, but these classes are now limited, or it is fixed, I can say, because we have written here very clearly that if the population is divided into two subclasses, that's it. So there is no third class. Like if I am collecting the data gender wise, of course there is a third gender, but suppose we are collecting the data gender wise only male female. In that case, it is called a dichotomous classification. So this is a special word, as I told you. Now again, if you make a table, I'll just show you today itself. Then there will be different classes. As we have like 10 to 20, 20 to 30, these are the classes. And then there is a count, or there is a frequency. So similarly, we have here also what we call as classes and class frequencies. Now how do you go ahead? We just say, suppose the different attributes in themselves are called different classes. Say for example, again, you are collecting the data on the person who are healthy and who are sick. So the classes are only healthy and sick. So attribute is sickness or attribute is your health. So in that case, the class itself is, suppose A denotes health, then alpha will denote sickness or whatever you want. So different attributes in themselves are called different classes. It is not like again like 15,000 to 20,000, 20,000 to 30,000, your income or something like that. And there is a standard way of writing. The way we have defined the attributes, we just put in a small bracket, in a कौंस के बाहर. So thus if I write the letter without this counts or without this small bracket, in that case this is just an attribute. A, if I write only A, it is an attribute.
सर,
But if I write A within parenthesis, in that
एक्सक्यूज मी
case,
सर।
हाँ,
सर, मैं अभी डिस्कनेक्ट हो गई थी, तो क्या आप मुझे वापस से समझा सकते हैं?
see it will be very difficult. You have completely broken my flow. Just wait for some time. एक स्टूडेंट के लिए मैं दोबारा नहीं जा सकता वापस.
ओके सर, नो प्रॉब्लम।
Hold on, I will come back. Don't worry.
ओके सर।
So, in fact, I don't think that I have covered much. I have just started from dichotomy only. This I have already explained. Once again, quickly for you, we can divide the whole classes only, the whole population into two classes. So, in that case, it is just a dichotomous or dichotomous classification, right? Now, what I am saying that the different attributes in themselves are called different classes. Like as I was telling, if A represents health, then alpha suppose represents the sickness. In that case, A and alpha are your classes, not like your data which was quantitative, where you had classes like again 15 to 20, 20 to 30, whatever you have. So then there is a standard notation that if you have an attribute without parenthesis, then this is called just an attribute. But if I put A within parenthesis, that means the count. Suppose I have collected the data of 1000 people. Out of 1000 people, 600 are healthy. So this 600 is the frequency of the attribute health. So once I put this parenthesis, in that case it gives you a count. That is what I am saying. These observations are assigned to them are called the class frequencies, which are denoted by bracketing them. Now not only one attribute, suppose we have another attribute, say A and B together, then if you write like AB within the bracket, in that case simply this means that the number of objects possessing the attribute health and say another attribute is smoking. So if a person is healthy, he is not smoking, something like that, or he is a smoker, something like that. So this is just like a representation that if I later on you will see, if I am writing anything say without bracket, you can see here where my cursor is moving. This is just a notation that this represents any attribute, whatever. Say you have a mobile, you don't have a mobile, you are a male, you are a female, something like that. So we can have just as a standard notation that we can have different classes and then thereby the class frequencies. So we have, as I have already told you yesterday and today also in this morning beginning, that we have capital Roman letters, they represent the positive classes, and the corresponding Greek letters represent the negative classes. So we just write, as we have used this notation, we can just write that if you have class frequencies of the type like A within bracket, AB within bracket, B within bracket, or say third C within bracket, then these are called the positive frequencies. This is what we have used yesterday also. Similarly, alpha, beta, gamma, which are now complementary to the attribute A. A का complement क्या है? Alpha. B का complement क्या है? Beta. What is the complement of C? There is suppose gamma. So if I put them in a bracket, then these are known as the negative frequency. But sir, you can have combination also like healthy and non-smoking. So if health represents A and non-smoking represents beta, then you can have something like A beta, or you can have something like alpha B. So whenever you have a combination of the two letters, like remember, if we have separate only the Greek letter or the Roman letter, in that case they are representing the positive or the negative class frequency respectively. But if we have combination like alpha B or like A, beta, C. That means this is B is a Roman letter, alpha is a Greek letter. Similarly, I can have alpha, beta, C, right? So in that case, these are just a nomenclature. These are known as the contrary frequency. So there is a new word for you now. Positive, negative, you must have heard about it. But we are using a new concept today, where we are calling these kind of combinations as contrary frequency. So this is just our understanding. Now, as a very simple case, because as I told you earlier also, though we are in bivariate data, of course, we are going to talk about certain classifications also, but not generally more than 2 cross 2. Or we'll see later on also how we are going to extend the idea. Now, what is 2 cross 2? It is just like if you remember your matrix notation, and if you write a matrix of the order 3 cross 3, then what do you mean by the order 3 cross 3? Sir, it simply means that there are 3 rows and 3 columns. And the smallest matrix which we can write, the smallest matrix which you can write is a 2 cross 2. Like there are 2 rows and there are 2 columns. So similarly, if I am talking about, once again, remember this word this morning which I have started. Dichotomous means it is only 2, sir, no third one. So if I have an attribute and if I am classifying my population according to that attribute only in 2 classes, then what are the possibilities? Then we say that it will generate a 2 by 2 contingency table. Now I am not very sure, but still I am trying to ask you that does anybody know the meaning of the word contingency? आप में से किसी को भी contingency word का मतलब पता है, literal meaning? Forget about the technical part. Does anybody know what is contingency? I'll give you just 1 minute time. अगर आता है तो आता है, नहीं तो नहीं आता, तो 5 मिनट में भी you cannot answer. Do you know the literal
Future
meaning of the?
events.
Pardon?
Future events.
No. Future event is not contingency. हाँ हाँ बोलो. Not condition. Okay, no problem. Let us not waste common time. I have already suggested you that now I think all of you are having a mobile phone, and I don't want that you use your mobile phone for Pocket Oxford Dictionary. That's very easy. You have, all of you must be having Google with you. After the lecture, you just Google the meaning of this word. What is contingency? Okay, fine. So this is just a remark.
Sir, is
Sometimes
that accidentally?
हाँ बोलो.
Accidentally?
Accidentally नहीं, नहीं नहीं. कोई बात नहीं, 1 मिनट हो गया. Now I cannot. This is just, you know, my nature or style of teaching. See, sometimes I'll keep you. Say you are a student of statistics now. I'll tell you a very simple, interesting fact. I am not saying that which medium we have studied. I had also studied in Hindi medium. That's not an issue. See, if you learn just 2 words in a day, new words. अगर आप एक दिन में 2 शब्द भी नए सीखते हैं, तो 1 महीने में 60 नए शब्द होंगे. Calculation goes on. So this is how you can increase your vocabulary, right? So this is always I used to tell, there are certain words which have got, say, literal meaning. So for example, we were discussing the word association yesterday. Association we are discussing in the statistical perspective, but the word association already is there in English language, na? So what do you mean by correlation? Literal. What do you mean by association? Literal. What do you mean by, say, so many words will come, not only in my paper. In many papers you will find different kind of new words coming in. So try to understand and then try to connect that, sir, how we are using in statistics, like that. So anyways, this was just a kind of passing. हाँ बोलो.
So something which is interconnected or something which
Who
is
is not
connected to
connected?
something.
Connected to?
Something like if one thing is like we can say there is a branch of the tree and there are stems, so stems are connected to that branch, so it is correlated to each other like
So I'm
that.
not asking correlation, I'm asking contingency. Okay, let us not deviate. Okay, stop. Okay, just stop. Let us not go ahead and keep on discussing just one word in the whole lecture. I just gave you 1 minute. We have spent already 3 minutes. Don't worry. We'll be keep on discussing this. But as I suggested, always you should try to have a kind of curiosity. Sir, what does this mean literally? That's why I asked, nothing else. Okay, with that remark, let me go back to my presentation. So I am using a word 2 by 2 contingency table. Now you know what is a table, you know what is 2 by 2. Idea was that if you know contingency meaning, you will be able to understand because what of course I am going to explain. But this is 2 by 2 contingency table. This is a very special kind of classification. So what we are going to discuss, sir, we are going to generate a table which will have two rows and two columns. Okay, so suppose there are two attributes A and B. So we have A and complementary to A we have alpha. Similarly we have B, complementary to B we have beta. So we have these four cells. I hope you know the meaning of the cell. Just like if you have a matrix, the moment you write A11, A11 simply represents that is sir element of the first row, first column. Then A12, I know that sir, a row is fixed and the column is varying. So it is the first row, second column. Then you change the row. That means from first row you come to the second row. And the notation says you write A21 and then A22. Very simple. So these are just the position of the elements. These are not the count. If you remember, I have given you one example. Says, what is your seat number? Says, sir, B15. So you will go to the row B and seat number 15, you will go and sit over there. So that is just a kind of arrangement. Matrix is also an arrangement only, right? So what we are trying to do here, we are trying to classify again. Don't forget the key word of this morning. The key word of this morning is dichotomy. Dichotomy means sir only two classes, no third class is allowed. So either I have this attribute or I don't have this attribute. There is nothing like smoker, non-smoker, and sometimes smoker. That may be there, but we are not discussing there this point at this point of time. So what we have possibilities are sir A alpha and B beta. Now you just see I have told you that if I just write A or alpha and don't write the count, we just write okay it is A. But if I say that if I am writing that suppose for example how do you read this cell? This cell will be having how many persons are there in the population who have the attribute A and B together. This is the first cell. And what is the count? Like say how many of the students are having mobile phone, smartphone or mobile phone, and then gender wise. So now you have a male, female, mobile phone, yes or no. So what are the possibilities? Because gender two classes, mobile phone yes or no two classes. To two by two, all in all there will be four possibilities. Four combinations will be there. There will be male student having mobile. There will be male student having no mobile. There will be female student having mobile. There will be female student having no mobile. Something like that. So this is how you have generated a table of count. Now this is what you have to keep in mind. This is the key table for you of all the discussions further. So, sir, we write A alpha, B beta, and look at the always in statistics or anywhere, whenever you make a table, you always make a total column. You are doing practicals, so you'll be knowing it better then. What is the idea of making a total column? We always make total because it is going to help me in several ways. So we will have this as B within bracket, beta within bracket, A within bracket, and alpha within bracket. Now you know, just I have told you, A within bracket stands for the frequency. Then obviously, sir, whether it is A plus alpha or whether it is B plus beta, that will give me the total count, capital N. So, sir, what are the relations? If I look at this table, how do you write it? You can see it from here itself. Say, sir, if A plus alpha is equal to N, then what is alpha? Simple, na? That is N minus A. Again, because of the complement. Remember, A and alpha are complementary attribute. Okay, so if A represents having a mobile and the total frequency is say 1000, out of 1600 people have a mobile, then obviously 400 people don't have a mobile. That's it, as simple as that. So that is what you can see even from this table also. It will be easy for you to visualize the relations which I have written here. If I know certain frequencies, because of just like I can again go back to my yesterday's lecture when I asked you that have you studied about the concept of complementary probability, right? In probability also you know that the total is 1 of any number of events. So if I know that A is one event and A complement is another event, and if I know the probability of A complement or A, I can find the other one. That is the idea. And because of that complementary, okay, so that is how that we can use that word complementary is how mathematically it is used. 1 minus probability of A, something like that. So here also complementary type of a thing. So what we can have, sir, we have alpha is n minus a. Similarly, look at the table. I can write beta is n minus b or something like that. A beta. Now what is a beta? Recall here, if it was a or b exclusively, then it was a positive frequency. If it is alpha and beta, then it is a negative frequency. But if it is a beta or alpha b, this is called contrary frequency. So A beta is contrary, alpha B is contrary. Now how do you write? I'll tell you a very simple thing. See, it is very easy for this, but for the combination, what you write? A is okay, no problem. But what is beta? Beta is actually complementary to B. And how do you write complementary? 1 minus B. Okay. So it is 1 minus B. Now multiply by A. So it will be A minus AB. Put the parenthesis. So you have a count. You have A count. You have a AB count, which I have said here. So I can find out what is A beta. Similarly, what is alpha B? Alpha stands for complementary to A. Now, what is complementary to A? That is 1 minus A. B remains as such. So, now again multiply. You can write B minus AB. And finally, what do you have? Alpha beta. And alpha beta means complementary to A and B both. So, in that case, sir, it becomes 1 minus A, 1 minus B. Multiply, there will be 4 terms. And then within running the bracket, it will become n minus a minus b plus ab. So I can find out alpha beta also. This is how actually you can fill up all these cell frequencies. What will be the cells, sir? AB, alpha b, a beta and alpha beta. So you can fill up all this where I am moving my cursor. You can fill up all these 4 cells by these counts. Okay. So that is why this is, we are just again, see actually what are you doing here? This is just like your classification and tabulation. Because the moment you are writing this kind of frequency, you are tabulating the values. See, what you are doing in quantitative analysis? You made certain classes. After that, what was the next step? So if you go back to very initial kind of discussion, we used to have tally marks. You remember, I hope. Classroom, sorry, this is taught even at the school level also. There is something like what we have a tally mark. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 lines vertical, and then fifth one cuts it. So that you can have a bunches of 5. Why it is so? This is just to make convenience for the counting. So that is the whole idea here also. Once we have the data which is dichotomized in a population, what is the count? So all these counts we can put it here. And these are the relationship which will help us to find out the count if it is not given directly. So ultimately, sir, what did you do? Sir, we have classified and tabulated attributes. Remember, what is A attribute? What is B attribute? Remember, now that you are classifying and tabulating a qualitative data, most important thing. And I must tell you once again that qualitative data is very common in social sciences. and in economical sciences, in biological sciences, where we are talking something about an attribute or a quality in some sense. So this is the simplest table which we can generate. Of course, it can be extended. We are not going to talk much about that because we are not going to take you beyond bivariate. Remember, the whole this unit is dedicated to bivariate exploration. Because the moment, of course, you can ask and you can see, sir, you have written here C, sir. Of course, then A is one attribute, C is another attribute, sorry, B is another attribute, C is the third attribute. The moment you introduce a third variable into your consideration, your data becomes a trivariate data. Just remember the simple example of height, weight, and age. If you collect data only on height, it is univariate. If you collect the data on height and weight both, it is bivariate. But if you collect the data on height, weight, and age also, the data becomes a trivariate data. And then the whole story will change. See how the things have changed from univariate to bivariate. You can see that at least. In univariate, you had measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, skewness, kurtosis, moments, and all that. The story ends. But the moment you entered into bivariate, you came with the concept of correlation. It's a big deal, actually. And of course, third unit will be still interesting when we will be discussing the concept of regression. And that is also possible only when we have the data at least, which is a bivariate data. So imagine if the data is bivariate, how extensive you are. So imagine if the data becomes trivariate, what else you can do. And finally, of course, it is too much to say in the first year level, first semester, but in general, I am just giving you a passing remark. My data can be multivariate. Because you are statistics principal students, multivariate analysis is also there, but that is what we teach at MSc previous level, PG level. After 3 years of your graduation, if you join MSc program of statistics, of course, today I'm not propagating for MSc, but you will know slowly. I'll tell you the benefits of postgraduate degree and so on and so forth. So we have this is how the whole structure of the course is maintained. That we start from humble, simple steps, and then how we are gradually increasing the intensity from univariate to bivariate, bivariate to trivariate, trivariate to multivariate, and that is how the whole statistical analysis takes its full form. So that was just a passing remark. That is why remember I have focused on 2 by 2. 2 by 2 means okay sir, 2 by 2, no objection. Now there are certain standard notations which we call as class symbol and operator. Operator is just like you will study in numerical analysis also delta, or you must have studied dy by dx in mathematics. What is dy by dx, by the way? पढ़ा है ना dy by dx, differential calculus, or you will be studying as a second subject your mathematics. What is the idea of dy by dx? What does it?
Derivative.
हाँ बोलो बोलो.
Derivative.
हाँ, it's a derivative.
Derivative.
Correct. But what does it tell you? क्या बताता है? Perfect answer. Perfect answer. It is the rate of change of y with respect to x. So it is a kind of operator. Not only that, if you have studied differential calculus, y is equal to mx plus c, that slope is dy by dx. M, whatever you write, is the slope of a line is dy by dx. So for mathematics, it's a different. It's an, as somebody said very rightly, it's okay. It's a differential coefficient. Dy by dx is what? But actually, it is ddx of y, or whatever the way you read it. It is the rate of change of y. How y changes with respect to x. It's a big deal actually. So similarly, we have certain operators. How do they operate, and what is their meaning? So symbolically, what we write. Suppose if I write a dot n, that is just a frequency. Similarly, alpha dot n is just a frequency. That means it is just we are counting the population with respect to an attribute A. What is the count? Out of n total, how many of you are male? Sir, 600 students are male. So that is out of n. I am dichotomizing the population n. Population is n. Suppose, for example, we have taken a sample of size 2000. Out of 2000, how many male student, how many female student? So that is operating. So A operated on n gives me the count of A. Similarly, alpha operated on n gives the count of alpha. And obviously, if I add these two, I get a dot n plus alpha dot n, which is a plus alpha, which I am writing here. You can see my, sorry, you can see my cursor moving over there. How do you write, sir? This is just from here only. That's why immediately I am giving you the relationships जो आपको मिली हैं. I am giving you the operators also. So that's a plus alpha is n, sir. How did you get it? Just simple like this. Okay. Similarly, I can talk about b and beta. So I can talk something like this, that sir, how did you write actually? This is what I am explaining. So a plus alpha is equal, a plus alpha operated on n is a plus alpha, or this is a plus alpha, n is equal to n. So this is a plus alpha is equal to 1. That's why we can write very easily that either alpha is 1 minus a or a is 1 minus alpha. So this is just, we can, whatever I have done for a, I can do for b also. But this is what we have written here. Already we have written. So this is what I am explaining here. How did you write these relations for 2 by 2 contingency table? Again, remember, it is a 2 by 2 contingency table is a very, very special case which we are discussing. Now, there is something like what we call as consistency of the data. What is this? I'll explain. I am going to use a word which I hope you must have studied in mathematics. There is something like what we call as necessary and sufficient condition. In short, it is called NASC. This is what? This is something like implies and implied by. Or in English, I hope you have studied, or in mathematics actually we use this notation IFF, not only IF. If I write IF, you know that we are writing if. But if I write IFF, have you seen this IFF? You have seen this
Yes,
notation.
sir.
This what is good? What does this mean? हाँ क्या बोल
If
क्या?
and only
Very good.
If
Very
and
good.
only if.
Yes, yes, yes. You have got the right answer. If and only if means implies and implied by. दोनों तरफ जैसे नोटेशन बनता है ना, जिसको आप लिखते हैं implies, और इस तरफ भी अगर हम एरो बना दें तो that is called if and only if. So that is called necessary and sufficient condition. उसको हम कैसे प्रूव करते हैं? पहले sufficient condition को assume कर लेते हैं, फिर necessary condition प्रूव करते हैं. जब necessary condition प्रूव हो जाती है फिर sufficiency को प्रूव करते हैं. So that is called NASC. We are not going to prove anything here. We are just going to use the concept of NASC because the data must be consistent. Now, what is that consistency? The necessary and sufficient condition for a set of independent class frequencies is that no ultimate class frequency is 0. Now, ultimate means just like A alpha, B beta. So that is for a single attribute. What are the conditions? Conditions are A must be greater than or equal to 0. 0 is a very special case. It should not be 0 actually. Mathematically, just we write. And alpha is greater than or equal to 0. That implies always A is less than or equal to n. Because obviously, if A plus alpha is equal to n and A is greater than 0, or alpha is greater than 0, sorry, in that case definitely A has to be less than n. In one word, if you are making a table count and suppose somewhere you get a value of A which is greater than n, that means you have committed a mistake somewhere in your classification. That is the idea of consistency check. Consistency check means simply if A plus B is equal to n, then how A can exceed n? Simply, unless and until B is 0. And if B is 0, there is no second attribute actually. Right? So this is called the classes of conditions for consistency of the data. It is always there generally, and we don't commit a mistake while having a count actually. But still you have to keep in mind that none of the class frequencies should be 0. They should be greater than or equal to 0. Now, what do you mean? Because yesterday we have used a word, what you call as association. Association, again, I can say in a way, it is a kind of relationship. But now the relationship is between any two qualities, not between the two quantities. Always remember. Now, the thing is that even in correlation also, you have studied the concept of independence. So, do you think that if there is a bivariate data, suppose something is X and something is Y, always it is necessary that they should be related? If I have a bivariate data, is it necessary that A and B should, sorry, X and Y should be related, always related? No, they may be related, they may not be related. And even if they are related mathematically because of the formula, that relationship can be spurious or a nonsense. So don't think, sir, that if you have a bivariate data, then always we are going to talk about a relationship, maybe correlation or association. Yes, if they are correlated, the next question is how much they are correlated. So we go and measure the extent of relationship. But suppose if they are independent, the story ends there. If you have two variables x and y and they are independent, no need to proceed further. No bivariate analysis. So the important part is if we have two variables or two attributes, are first of all I should check, are they independent or they are dependent. Now this word independent you must have studied in probability theory also. Any two events A and B are said to be independent if, what is the condition? You have studied or not? Independence of events आपने पढ़ा है?
Yes.
बोलो.
P of A integer B is equal to P of A dot P of B.
Integer क्या बोला? What did you say? Probability of?
Sir,
नहीं, आप कुछ और बोल रहे हैं.
independent
Events A
सर आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. सर आपकी आवाज
हाँ चली गई थी मुझे पता है. नाउ आई एम बैक. अभी मेरी आवाज आ रही है आपको?
Yes, sir.
यस सर.
हाँ, actually I
Yes,
just
sir.
switched over. Yes, yes. Actually, I just switched over to another provider. I have got two providers actually. वो कभी कभी एक का इंटरनेट चला जाता है तो मैं तुरंत दूसरे पे जाता हूँ. But it takes at least 2 4 5 10 सेकंड चले जाते हैं. Anyways, quickly I am coming back to my question. What I was asking. What is the idea of independence of any two events? आपने probability theory में पढ़ा होगा शायद. कब कहते हैं कि
Sir.
दो इवेंट आपस में?
Sir,
सर आपकी
sir,
हाँ, गुड. प्रोबेबिलिटी
Hello?
ऑफ ए इंटरसेक्शन बी या इज इक्वल टू प्रोबेबिलिटी. हाँ, कोई कुछ और बोल रहा है, बोलो.
हाँ सर, पहले इवेंट का आउटकम सर दूसरे इवेंट के आउटकम पे कोई इफेक्ट नहीं करता है.
करेक्ट. ये भी एक बिल्कुल विदाउट एनी सेट थ्योरेटिक नोटेशन, मतलब इवेंट ए अकरेंस और नॉन अकरेंस does not affect the occurrence or non-occurrence of the event B. That is the idea of independence. Correct. So with that idea of independence, we go back to the concept of attributes again. How we are going to talk about the independence of attribute? वो तो इवेंट की बात हो गई. जैसे आपने दोनों डेफिनेशन बता दिया, प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ ए इंटरसेक्शन बी इज पी ए इंटू पी बी. हमेशा तो होगा नहीं, ये तभी होगा इफ ए एंड बी आर इंडिपेंडेंट. बट व्हाट डज दैट मीन लिटरली? तो दूसरे किसी स्टूडेंट ने जवाब दे दिया, वो भी सही है कि occurrence or non-occurrence of event A does not affect the occurrence or non-occurrence of the event B. The same idea is taken for the independence of attributes. Let us see how. two attributes A and B are said to be independent simply if there exists no relationship between them. Baat khatam. That is the idea of independence. But sir, what do you mean by no relation between them? How we will translate this language into mathematical condition? So there are four ways to express this. First of all, as you somebody said that occurrence or non-occurrence of one event does not affect the other. So what do you mean by that? In case of attribute, it simply says that if any two attributes A and B are independent, we will expect two things. Same proportion of A's amongst B's as amongst betas. That means what? The same proportion of A among B and among beta. B and beta are complement. So the proportion of A in B and the proportion of beta is same. That means it does not affect whether it is B or whether it is beta. That is the idea of independence. Similarly, in place of in place of A here, I can write B. If we have same proportion of B's among A's as amongst alphas, that means it makes no difference that what is the proportion of A in B or what is the proportion of A in beta. Sir, or same thing here, what I have written, the proportion of B's amongst A's is same as that of amongst alphas. So this is the condition or this is the idea. No, I will not say condition. Condition is coming just now. This is the idea of independence of any two attributes A and B. That means the proportion of A in B and proportion of A in beta are same. Similarly, the proportion of B in A or the proportion of B in alpha are same. That means A beta upon N is alpha B upon alpha, sorry, alpha beta upon alpha, or AB upon N is equal to A upon N into B upon N, or AB upon A is equal to alpha B upon A. All these are equivalent condition mathematically, but what is the main condition? Just like your probability theory. Probability of AB is probability of A into probability of B. So we can verify either this or this or this or this, these four conditions because of 2 cross 2 again. But the main condition is just like your probability theory condition. That is why I asked that what is the independence of two event. A and B are events there. A and B are attributes here, but the condition remains the same. Because the basic philosophy of independence is in that sentence which we are discussing, that A occurs, it does not affect whether B occurs or B does not occur. Similarly, B occurs, it is not affected by whether A occurs or A does not occur. That is the idea of independence, which mathematically translates into probability of A intersection B is equal to PA into PB, या जो अभी आपने बताया, ये PA, these two events, these two probabilities can be multiplied. Similarly, here these two frequencies, if they multiplied, and if this is equal to the count AB, then the independence of attributes is established. So you can establish any condition, this or this. I have written everywhere or. Either this condition or this condition or this condition or this condition or this condition. If any one of these conditions is satisfied, then the attributes are independent. Fine, the story ends. If they are independent, as I have just mentioned, if the variables x and y are independent, the analysis stops. Similarly, here also, if any one of these four conditions are held or they are satisfied, in that case, story ends here itself. So they may be independent. We are not forcing that these, if you have two attributes, they have to be associated. No, it is not necessary. Just like if you have any two variables, as we have seen, whether your size of shoe and your intelligence are correlated, it's meaningless, right? Or it is just like we have used the word spurious, sorry. Spurious means it's nakli. It is not, relation is there, but it's a nakli relation, not real one. So the whole idea actually, now I can go back to my starting point of my lecture yesterday. What was my heading? Measuring the association. Sir, you will measure the association only when they are associated. So what do you mean by their association? For that, we have to establish all these things, preceding things what we have discussed. If they are associated, man, that means they are not independent. That means they are dependent. But sir, tell me, what do you mean by the independence of the attributes? Just like there you have seen, if Rxy is equal to 0, it does not imply that x and y are independent. It simply says that x and y are not linearly related. And remember that classical example of the unit radius circle, sorry. X square plus y square is equal to 1 is a perfect relation, but sir, that is not linear. And remember, always I'll keep on telling that the correlation, Pearsonian correlation coefficient, measures the extent of linear relationship between x and y. If the relationship is non-linear, they will not measure it. So the same idea translates, because now the word has changed. No correlation, we are talking about association. Yes sir, if association is there, what do you mean by association? So first of all, if they are not independent, who told that they are not independent? So these conditions I will check out. And for that, we had to develop all these things. What is A, what is B, what is alpha, what is beta, what is 2 by 2 contingency, and so on and so forth. So now we can come back to the heading of yesterday. If they are associated, natural question, how much? It is just like you are my friend and you are my best friend. These two things are different. That the word best actually is telling the extent of relationship. તમે મારા મિત્ર છો, તમે મારા અંગત મિત્ર છો. That is just a qualitative characteristic. Once again, you are my best friend or you are my fast friend or whatever. So the idea here is that if there also, when we say that the two variables are correlated, immediate concern was, can we measure? So we introduced coefficient. Same is the story here. Number one, first of all, we should start with this idea and then measuring this. What is association? In just one line, I can say the two attributes A and B are said to be associated if they are not independent. That means if this condition does not hold, AB is not equal to A into B upon N. Finished. They are not independent because this condition is violated, or any of these condition is violated. So in that case, sir, what we will say? They are associated. Fine. The two attributes A and B are said to be associated if they are not independent, but are related in some way or the other. Now remember that the relationship may not be always positive, in the sense that if X increases, Y increases, that is positive. But there may be relationships, sir, where X is increasing and Y is decreasing. So I'll give you a very simple example, lighting of a candle. आप एक मोमबत्ती जलाते हैं. So the length of candle keeps on decreasing as that candle starts burning. The relationship between the length of the candle and the time of burning is negatively correlated. Very crude example, but it's a fact. So the idea here is that, sir, what do you say? They are, these are the mathematical conditions. जैसे वहां पे आपने लिखा था if Rxy or Ryx is on the positive side, say range -1 to +1. Here also -1 to +1. We'll discuss later on. But if it is positive, then the condition is this. If the class frequency AB is greater than A into B upon N, now remember that table which has gone just up. If this condition holds, then these two attributes are said to be positively associated, and they are said to be negatively associated, of course, if we have contrary to this. That means if AB is less than A into B upon N, of course, you know that if greater than or less than becomes equal, then they are independent. So that's it. If they are independent, again I will say full stop. Here itself we are going to stop. So once this condition is broken, or this breaks, this actually indicates association. So, okay, sir, the moment you write like this, either this may be greater. If this is broken, means what? They are not equal. If they are not equal, means what? Either this is greater than or this is less than. So that will also tell you the nature, that the attributes A and B are positively associated or attributes A and B are negatively associated. But sir, how much? What is the extent? Is it 0.2? Is it 0.3? Is it 0.9? Plus or minus? So how we are going to measure it, sir? There then comes the concept of course, let me tell you this remark first, and then of course, if possible, I'll go to the Yule's coefficient. Otherwise, let us see. So this is how we are actually saying that they are not independent, but are related in some way or the other. Some way or the other means either positive or negative. Now, the two attributes A and B are said to be completely associated. If A cannot occur without B, though B may occur without A, or vice versa. Again, I will read. Two attributes A and B are said to be completely associated if A cannot occur without B, though B may occur without A, and vice versa. Vice versa आप समझते हैं? Sir, what does this mean mathematically? This language, how does it translate? It translates to simply AB is the joint occurrence of A and B, but if AB is equal to A or AB is equal to B, that means it's a complete association. That is the meaning of this. A cannot occur without B, and this is the meaning of B cannot occur without A. So these are the conditions which we have to remember, that if AB becomes A, what does that mean? That simply means that A cannot occur without B. Similarly, here AB is equal to B means B cannot occur without A. So that is complete association as a special case. And complete disassociation means I don't care. A occurs or not, B occurs or not, they are not going to affect the occurrence or non-occurrence of the each one. So if AB is equal to 0 or alpha beta is equal to 0, you have to remember these two conditions very, very carefully. If AB is equal to B, if AB is equal to B or AB is equal to A, these are the conditions for complete association. Similarly, the other one, the other two conditions, whatever I have written, they are known as the condition for complete dissociation. So this is a very, very, I can say, extreme case. Extreme case means like something like getting Rxy is equal to +1. You just try to see something one day, that what do you mean by Rxy is equal to 1. I'll tell you in the last 2-3 minutes are there, but if you look at the formula of the correlation, it was covariance between x and y divided by under root variance of x variance of y. When it will be 1? Just think over it. Without any derivation. We have, of course, I have given you the derivation using the Shewhart's inequality, but just apply certain logic. And using that logic, just try to understand, sir, what do you mean by Rxy is equal to 1? I'll give you a hint. This will happen only when x is equal to y. That means actually there is no two variable. X is equal to means y means what? X is y, y is x. How does it matter? Then the covariance between xy becomes simply the variance of x or variance of y divided by the same quantity. So it will become 1. That is the idea of x is equal to y, y is equal to x. When it translates to attribute, that is how it is read. They are said to be completely associated if A cannot occur without B, though B may occur without A, or vice versa. So this is the extreme case, that AB is equal to A or AB is equal to B, or similarly disassociation means AB is equal to 0, just like covariance between x and y is 0, or alpha beta is equal to 0. These are not always possible. That means this will not be equal to A, this will not equal to B, this is not 0, this is not 0. That means there is some association. So the now next question is, what is the extent? How much they are associated? So the measurement of this association or the degree of association was given by a person whose name is Yule, Yule. Just like remember the three names. कौन-कौन से तीन नाम आपने पढ़ लिए? Karl Pearson, Spearman and Kendall. So at least now you know the names of three statisticians, right? And this is the fourth one. I'll keep on telling you some Indian names also, big names, those who have contributed a lot to statistics, right? So what we are going to discuss tomorrow is the idea of Yule's coefficient of association, right? So how we are going to measure the extent of association between any two attributes, what is the formula, how we are going to obtain it, how we are going to interpret it. That is most important. Okay, so just hold on for a moment, 1 minute, so that I can download your attendance. Fine. One thing, is Dhruvi there in the meeting? Dhruvi Pandya or Vaishali Prajapati? Hello? Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I just asked, yesterday I had asked to Dhruvi, or I did not ask, of course, Vaishali, because yesterday, you know, we had taken our lecture on. No, that is fine, but have you sent me the screenshot? That's why I asked whether Dhruvi is there. Okay, if not Dhruvi, then Vaishali, I think I have taken these two girls from the class.
वैभवी सर,
हाँ?
वैभवी है उसका नाम.
नहीं, अब सवाल ये कि स्क्रीनशॉट किसने लिया, मुझे पता नहीं है. I think because Dhruvi is not responding, so I don't know whether she is there in the meeting. Anyways, I will ask, doesn't matter. I just wanted to make sure that आपकी आज की अटेंडेंस तो डाउनलोड हो गई है, कल की बाकी है, तो उसका स्क्रीनशॉट अभी तक आया नहीं था. So I thought let me get the attendance of yesterday. Anyways, I am leaving with this. We shall meet again tomorrow.
सर,
हाँ बोलो.
वो किसी और को ऑर्गेनाइजर कैसे बनाते हैं वो एक बार करके दिखा दो ना.
क्या था?
वो आपने बोला था ना कल कि हम किसी और को ऑर्गेनाइजर बना सकते हैं.
हाँ 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 हाँ
तो वो
हाँ,
सिर्फ
उसके
एक
लिए मैं
आपके
बताऊँ. हाँ, मैं बताता
स्क्रीन
हूँ.
पे.
हाँ, उसको मैं फिर से बता देता हूँ. जैसे मान लो अभी तुम लोग बहुत सारे लोग, अभी भी 45 लोग मीटिंग में हो, ठीक है? आपका क्या नाम है?
पूर्णा सर.
पूर्णा. तुम्हें तुम्हारा नाम दिख रहा है? तुम जरा उस पे जाओ तो, जो अटेंडीज की लिस्ट है, पार्टिसिपेंट की लिस्ट है, उस पे आप जाइए. आपको दिखा लिस्ट?
हाँ सर.
अपने नाम के आगे, आपके नाम के आगे 3 डॉट